All right. So we're going to do 6-pack of questions.
All right.
And we're going to finish this beer in the 6-pack.
All right. Let's do it.
Because I can't finish a 6-pack. That would be not at this point.
That'd be a lot of beers and not a lot of questions.
Can you imagine? I mean,
I could. Would I want to? No.
That's a challenge. And especially we talked about we don't even like drinking that much.
So next time I come back on the podcast, we're just going to get hammered. We're doing a 6-pack for 6 questions.
Well, but I feel like we need to take but okay, so it's like this. It's like, okay, so if we do a 6-pack for 6-pack of questions, if the first question goes like 10, 15, 20 minutes, that means you have 20 minutes to finish a beer.
Sure.
But if the next question goes like 5 minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be stretching some shit out. I'm gonna be like, "Wow, how you feel about the Astros?"
So I guess in order to answer that question,
well, it's like a sloth at the DMV. I watch too many kids' cartoons. Okay. 6-pack of questions. What fashion trend did you follow that was very cool but looks ridiculous now?
Ooh, that is a good one. I've never been real big on fashion trends. I have kind of 2 examples, and I could pick one if I had to. I had frosted tips.
Ooh, fancy.
When I was younger, which I saw the photo hanging up.
Well,
so
that's the whole thing's frosted.
I know you were big about it.
Eminem was huge, dog.
I mean, it was a phenomenon. Yeah. I had both tips and the all over peroxide, like full bleach.
Burning the scalp.
I did both.
Yeah.
The other one, I guess, would just be like this t-shirts with sayings on them, like the graphic tees. Like I had one that said, and keep in mind, I was like 12, 13 when I was wearing this. It said like, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." So, you look back at pictures like that and you're like, man, I was an asshole, but they were cool at the time.
Do you know what my t-shirt that I remember like that? Mine was it was like one of those like kind of Aztec backdrops or whatever. And then it said New Mexico, cleaner than regular Mexico.
See, I think that's hilarious.
I mean, I do too, but wow. And then I had this, I went to New York City and I got this shirt and it had the Statue of Liberty on it. And it said, "Welcome to America. Now speak English." And I was like, wow, that was insensitive.
All right. John Rocker.
I just put that. Hey, I just put it straight to Goodwill. I bought it and I was like, ooh, bad purchase. Straight to Goodwill. Some guy here can wear that. What do you wish you were better saying no to?
Ooh, this is going to be one of those things
the
where
Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, I do not have any time to talk about our Lord and Savior. No, just kidding. I'm really bad at saying no to people asking me for help with like physical tasks. I am the man of the house for like 5 households in which I do not live, including my own. Now, which I do live in that one.
Is that the Hispanic background of like family and taking care of people? And
interestingly enough, it's not really that side of the family all that much.
Oh, okay.
My one uncle has had a couple of he had shoulder surgery. So I've had to go help him with a couple of things, but he and I are really close and I never have a problem helping him with that. But my godmother lives by herself and is a little bit older. So I'll go help her. My mom lives by herself. So I mow her grass and go over there. My brother lives 100 yards away from me and he'll call me up at 9 p.m. And he's like, "Hey man, can you help me move this bed that I bought on Facebook Marketplace?" And he and I have a good interchange where he'll watch my dog. And then when he's out of town, I'll go take care of his chickens. So I don't mind helping him out. But then, I'll get random phone calls "Hey, I forgot my key. Can you come let me into mom's house?" From my sister. So I joke all the time with my girlfriend. She's like, "Trey, what would these people do if you didn't answer the phone?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what they would do.
But You enjoy doing that stuff, huh?
I don't mind.
Well, I mean, you don't look at it as like they owe you anything, do you? Like,
Oh, no,
you're
never
just
that.
like
Yeah.
hey, like I'm gonna take care of the people that take care of me.
They'll try to like, oh well, you have to let us take you to dinner, or you have to let us like give you something in return. I'm like, nah, don't worry about
I'll let somebody take me to dinner though.
it.
You know what I mean?
Dinner, I don't mind. I'm like, oh, okay, twist my arm, you can take me to dinner.
What's your go to? You a steak guy? You like steaks?
I like steaks, and this is gonna sound super arrogant, but I don't buy steaks out unless I'm at like a Morton's or like a Ruth's Chris.
Yeah, you're right. It sounds super arrogant.
Sounds super arrogant because I make super bomb steaks.
Oh fuck, you're fucked now. Cause like I'm the kind of guy where I'm like, Texas Roadhouse, it's like good enough for me.
See,
But so like now I'm coming to your fucking house. You know what I mean?
I'll come next time I come. I'll bring my big fuck off cast iron skillet. I don't even grill them. I do them in the skillet. I sear them and then I baste.
I can't believe I didn't ask you to this first place.
Oh man, yeah, I could have done that today.
Yeah,
if you would have said like, "Hey, come record. I got some New York strip in the fridge. You got to take them out and let them get to room temperature." I'm very particular about that.
So you like my brother because my brother's a fantastic cook.
Okay,
and he has one of those like $5,000 like fucking pit smokers things and makes all the cool shit. Like he just makes. Hey, he makes this. He has this fabulous wood block. Okay. And then like he's a fabulous cook and the meat is just perfect or whatever. And he would take pictures of it and send it to me like, hey, look what I did, blah, blah, whatever. And I was like, you should buy the website Pics of My Meat. And he just kind of laughed about it. And then I bought the website Pics of My Meat.
Did you gift it to him?
No, I'm just holding on to it until he's ready to post pics of his meat.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
I'm like a poor man's cook. I know people that make like cuisine, like they'll get into the French mother sauces and things like that. I'm good at like, what do we have in the fridge? We have this and this.
Like chopped.
Okay, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to make some. Yeah, today's secret ingredient is this sausage that we need to use before it goes bad. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to whip something up.
My girlfriend's really good at that. And when we had that big freeze.
Yeah.
And like all the power went out and shit like that, I was like, okay, well, like this is your version of chopped, whatever we have. Like, let's just empty all the stuff because it's all going to go bad, right?
Yeah, you have to.
I was like, figure out. And she was like making gravy with like yogurt and stuff. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I know you can make gravy with yogurt. All right. Oh man, I feel kind of unfortunate that but you know, this is good. What's your greatest memory of your best childhood friend? So the guy that passed away that we kind of talked about on the podcast, would that be your best childhood friend?
Yeah, he definitely was. He and I were really good friends from junior high, like onward. And
did you have a better best friend? Not to dismiss him, but like somebody that was like,
that's always kind of the like, well, who's your best friend?
Right.
You're only allowed one best friend.
Right.
The memory I shared earlier is a good one. I don't know if it's the best memory. I have a distinctive memory of him, and this isn't probably the best one. If you could like plug an HDMI cable into my head,
yeah,
and like pull out all the memories about Dylan Bynum. But I remember Dylan was a musician. He was a very, very good guitar player. And, but he loved music and he loved singing. And, at prom, like our senior prom, his brother was, I think, a sophomore. So his brother was there. Mm-hmm. And because we did at Friendswood, it was a junior senior prom.
Yeah.
And then if you were a freshman or a sophomore, you could be like someone's date.
Or did y'all have ushers?
I don't think so.
So that's where the level of small town goes down a little bit smaller, because there's not a lot of people. When you have a high school of like 500 people, there's not very many people going to prom. So we had like junior senior prom. And then they would have ushers. So it'd be like sophomores. They could like be invited to prom. Like that we had to put on a show and shit. Anyways.
That's hilarious.
Well, I mean, but like, hey.
I was
an usher.
Did you do some ushing?
I feel, you know what? Because like it meant that like you were a popular kid.
Yeah.
So it was like important that I was an usher. Like, you know, now looking back on it, it's fucking ridiculous. but I feel very blessed.
But it was dope at the time.
Well, I felt very lucky that the people in my school thought I was good enough to do something like that.
It's a compliment for what it is, you know. If you're to
it means
explain it
nothing.
to somebody,
It means nothing. Yeah.
If you explain it to somebody, they're like, "What?" But at the time, the context matters, you know.
Absolutely.
But
I totally hijacked that. My bad.
No, you're good. So we were at prom, and Piano Man by Billy Joel came on. And to this day, his Facebook page is now like in memoriam, whatever, you know, where somebody, I guess, files a report. I don't really know how that works. But it says like remembering Dylan Bonham, and his Facebook profile picture is like of this moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
But he's up silhouetted with like green light behind him. And he was up on this little like stage because it wasn't really a stage. It was just kind of like a bank of speakers. And I guess they did have a stage because they had announced like King and Queen, whatever. And he was up there like with his arm around his brother and some other people, like kind of swaying back and forth, singing Piano Man by Billy Joel. And so the story that I told earlier about like he didn't care about, you know, looking cool or, you know, do I look suave? And I think his date had actually like blown him off. Like he took a younger gal and she had some other friends there. And but he was up there just like in his element, you know, performing. And that's like when I think back on Dylan just like being a goofy motherfucker and doing, you know, whatever he wanted to do, like that's one that stands out as like, man, Dylan was so cool because he would just do the stuff that he thought was cool.
I would argue he was so cool because he was himself.
Exactly. And that's when you're
that's
younger.
What's so crazy is because like if hey young people, if you just understand, if you just be yourself, you will be fucking cool.
Exactly.
Everybody might not think you're cool, but you will be cool because you will be comfortable in who you are, and that is cool.
Yeah. There's a quote and I forget who said it, but it's like, don't be you know, a second-rate version of somebody else. Like be, you know, the best version of you that you can, like, you know, don't try to be anyone else. Be you and be really good at it.
You can sample stuff from other people.
Sure.
But make it your own. Like that's what the ideas that you have about who you should be is what makes you an individual.
Yes.
Right. So like you can I sample from all kinds of places and shit. Like I like things, but I make it my own. And I think when you do that, then you become really unique, and then people are really attracted to you. And then the people that are attracted to you are people that are attracted to you because you're you.
Yeah.
And not because you're anything else but you. We
all end up as like a Frankenstein's monster of the people that we respect, and some that, you know, we're carry parts of them for unfortunate reasons, but some, you know, we wanted to emulate, or something that we liked and wanted to be like, but just don't worry about trying to be anyone else. Just be you and do your best version of being you.
And that's what you're going to be the best at anyway.
Exactly.
You're not going to be. You're the only person that could be the best at being you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you can try to be somebody else, but there's already somebody else doing that. Yeah. And they're going to be the best at it.
It always cracks me up because I'll do something that is, you know, stereotypically me. People are like, oh my gosh, you know, you're such a whatever. And I'm like, you know, that's the only way I was like that when you got here. That's the only way I know how to be, right. You know?
All right, hang on. Okay. I was wondering if you're going to start drinking. I wasn't going to say anything, but like, you know, remember like,
okay? This is question what, 3?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm right on pace.
Okay. Has anything bad ever happened to you that turned out to be the best?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, so I guess not to sound lame, but like professionally, probably, well, it's pre-COVID, so like 4 years ago, I guess at this point, like quite a while ago, I had applied for a job where I would have had like a much bigger sales territory, and one of my main customers would have been Bed Bath & Beyond, and in the time since, so I didn't end up hearing back from that job. So like my company HR was asking me, because it was a different division of our company, and they were saying, hey, you know, have you heard anything back? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out like 2 days after the hiring manager for that job interviewed me, he left the company and they made the decision not to backfill that guy. So they just like condensed that role. And then, so I didn't end up getting the job, which I was pissed about. And I hated my old job and, you know, all this and that. Well, about 2 years ago, I kind of changed career paths in my company, and, Bed Bath & Beyond has now gone bankrupt, where I would have been calling on them as a customer. So at the time I was pretty pissed about the development because I was just looking for a way out of my old job. But I, you know, ended up, it worked out because I love what I do now, and my boss and the small team that I'm on are all amazing people. And I'm really passionate about what I do. So I was pissed at the time, but it's good now.
Well, it's weird how we don't look at what happens to us as opportunities, but as like, I don't want to say failures, but like something bad's happening to me.
Sure.
Everything that's happened to you is an opportunity, you know? And like, if you look at it in that way, you go, okay, well, I might not be able to pull a lot out of this, but I could pull something out of this. Like, that's a pretty good place to be. You know what I mean? And then if you have that mindset with everything that you do, it kind of shifts what happens. I think it's just what happens.
Well, and I feel like that kind of goes back to, Mike Tyson said it, you know, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
That's right.
And you think, man, you know, this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and all these dominoes are going to fall. And then that first thing doesn't happen, and you have to pivot. And there are people that are like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. You know, nothing is okay. It's never going to be okay. And there's people like, all right, that didn't work out. Captain's log, you know, attempt number 76. Potty training didn't go well today. Back to the drawing board, you know, and you start over.
Well, you know, I've heard that quote before from Mike Tyson, and I've talked about this before, but I've never thought about it this way. In a way, my divorce from my ex-wife was my punch in the face.
Sure. Because nobody goes into a marriage thinking like, man, I can't wait to get divorced.
Well, and I'd waited a real long time. I didn't get married until I was like 40.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I thought I was making all these really, I don't know, that sounds kind of shitty. I was making these smart decisions, but like I was controlling something, but I really wasn't.
Sure.
And I was honestly setting myself up to get punched in the face. And then when I did, I was like, well, oh, fuck. Like, I got to figure some shit out.
That sucked.
And but then everything changed. And so, you know, at that moment, you can decide whether you're going to go, okay, well, I'm just going to take this beating, or I'm going to figure out metaphorically a way to fight back.
Sure.
You know?
Yep.
How will our culture change in the next 100 years? So that it will be the year, what are we? We are in 2023.
2023.
It'll be 23-23. Weird.
It'll be 21-23.
Wait, yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm bad at math.
Math's hard.
Oh, the 2020. Yes, you're right. I was all like, I was ready to go like, it's going to be Michael Jordan's year. He'll never live that long.
It'll be year 3000.
Yeah, 21-23.
I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how a lot of current events get remembered on the historical record.
The rapid fire, self-driving cars.
It'll be like iRobot. Like that'll be the default, and people that drive their own cars are going to be looked at as crazy.
You driving your own car?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I drive a V8 pickup truck.
Okay.
I don't like anything electric.
Age limits for presidential candidates.
Not going to happen because we're going to live longer in the future. So they're going to say it's not necessary because medical technology, we'll see someone hit 130 by then.
Politics back to back. There will be 3 parties. There will be we'll say libertarian, but just there will be an option for a third party.
Like a viable third party?
Yes.
Ooh, I think in 100 years, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Because I'm a big believer in, like, wherever you fall, left, right, or center, of like the pendulum swinging. So you read about, back in the day, there was like the Bull Moose party and the Know Nothing party and the Whigs and whatever. I think, we're in the two-party system right now pretty like staunchly. I think in 100 years, we're maybe back to having like one of those, at least one third party that people are pretty on board with.
Whatever the NFL record for passing touchdowns is will be broken in 100 years from now.
I'm gonna say no.
What is the record? Like 55?
I have no idea. I'm really good at trivia. I do not know sports trivia.
Okay, that's
You could ask me like, who won the American League batting title in 2003? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to necessarily know that, but like, okay, we'll say that the touchdown record, I don't even know what it is. We'll say it's 55. I think it's 54. It's Tom Brady. I don't know who it is. Will the touchdown record be broken? A passing touchdown in 21-23, will someone have thrown more than 54 touchdowns in a season?
No, because I don't think the NFL as we know it today exists 100 years from now.
You think it's like totally?
I think they're going to change the game to a point where we might not even be playing baseball or football.
Might not be doing that either.
Might not be playing. No, but I think it's going to change to a point where, people point to like, well, in the early days of basketball, they used a peach basket. I think what we're doing now with football will be looked at that way 100 years from now.
Will colleges have sports, or will colleges just be institutions that you go to like in other countries?
Colleges will have
in the United States. Will they have this? Will they have sports?
Yes, but NIL is going to change the landscape radically over the next 100 years, and within the next 10 years, NIL is going to get reined in big time.
Will Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg still be alive?
No.
You don't think they figure out some way to live for like forever?
One of them will not leave the fight alive. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't think they're going to be the first 130-year-old that we see.
More than that, right? Like
because they're both. Elon, I think, is in his 50s.
Yeah,
I think Zuck's in his 40s.
Yeah, no chance.
No
chance. That's what you have to look forward to in 100 years. What are you grateful for?
I am extremely, extremely fortunate in my life to have had the opportunity to make and maintain a lot of very, very dear friends. And I think for somebody to go through life not having like real friends is probably one of the greatest tragedies that a person could experience. And I look up daily and kind of examine the people that I have around me and the people that I can count as friends. And I'm just completely overwhelmed by how grateful I am that I can say that.
But do you think that starts by you being a great friend?
I would not say that. If you asked the people that I'm talking about, they probably would say that.
Well, but I mean, like, I think that's what allows you to, how can you expect to have good friends if you're not a good friend?
You have to be a good friend to have good friends. You're absolutely right. But it's one of those things that like, I don't feel like that's my place to say. It's something I aspire to. Like if you were to ask me, like, how do you want to be remembered one day? I would say I would hope that people would say I was a good friend. But it's not for me to say. That you'd have to ask other people for their assessment of me as a friend, if that makes sense.
I also think that if you try to always be a good friend, that you don't have to worry about like what people would say, because what they would say is that you are a good friend. You know what I mean? Like if you're just focused on just being a good friend, that's what people will say.
Yeah.
And in the weird way of your actions speak louder than words kind of thing.
Sure.
So did you finish? I think I Spit.
Just foam at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.